8th October 1932. 6 Indian officers, after 2 years of training at Cranwell, UK, were granted the King's Commission to form the Indian Air Force. The British aircraft they flew would start by hand-turned gear at a speed of 225 kilometers and was named after the North American deer. It was Westland Wapiti, popularly known as WAP. The gunner seated at the rear open cockpit had to be tied down with a chain to prevent him from flying off when the plane somersaulted. 5 Indian pilots had seen the action before during the First World War, but as part of the Royal Flying Corps, England. When the Second World War broke out, the IAF comprised of only 1 squadron with 16 officers and 269 airmen. By the end of the war, owing to their brilliantly daring performance, the IAF had 9 squadrons. In 1942, the Indian Air Force received what is known as one of the world's classic fighter planes, the Hawker Hurricanes. Through 1943 and 1944, the Hurricane Squadron fought on the Burma front. With a speed exceeding 480 kilometers an hour, the Hurricanes flew in pairs. The leader would watch and collect information, and the number 2, nicknamed Weaver, would protect his tail. In 1944, the Indian Air Force received what is considered one of the greatest combat aircraft ever built. With a speed of 720 kilometers an hour and famed for its role during the Battle of Britain, this was the legendary Super Marine Spitfire, and the Indian Air Force had over 350 of them. Immediately after partition, the IAF found itself in action against hostile invaders in Jammu and Kashmir. They weren't even sure if they could land troops in Srinagar, but they did in the nick of time to save the city. The Kashmir operations saw significant action. The aircraft that did much work was the Douglas DC-3 Dakota, capable of carrying a load of about 30 passengers. Used by the 1st Transport Squadron of the IAF, these daring men in the Dakotas lifted large number of troops, supplies and refugees in record time, but records were set on the ground as well. In mid-December 1947, a garrison of Indian troops in the hill town of Poonch was surrounded by the enemy. Supplies had to be dropped from the air, but this was not good enough. There were also several thousand refugees who needed to be evacuated as well. There was no choice. The Dakota would have to land. But where and how? The garrison, with the help of 6,000 volunteer refugees, enlarged the parade ground to a 600-yard airstrip in 6 days. The Dakota had to come spiraling down steeply and land accurately. The operation was successful.
Thanks for watching. If you like video, put subscribe.